We are finally 28-ish hours away from the NHL Draft. Ryan Donato is going to join us right off the hop. The CBA is close to done, and there's a big trade in the NHL, and the Blackhawks are not involved this time. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Hope you're enjoying this steamy Thursday in Chicago. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show again. Emma's over there doing something. I don't know what it is, but she's doing something. She's working. Yes.
She's posting things.
There you go. Perfect. We're going to talk to Ryan Donato here in a moment. Before we do, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, follow, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. After we talk to Ryan, we're going to get into the JJ Peterka trade, some of the news around the league, and then Mario and I are going to offer our final draft rankings for the third pick.
Draft Eve.
So lots to go. But let's head out to our guest right away and bring in newly signed Blackhawks forward Ryan Donato. Ryan, thanks for being with us today, man. We appreciate you taking some time.
Be here.
Yeah, well, congrats on the new deal. We got a little bit stressed out when the trade deadline passed. You were not traded, which was a relief, and then a lot of time went by between that and a new contract. So people started getting itchy, but glad to see you're back here. What was what made you want to stay in Chicago?
I mean, from the moment we got there, my wife and I, we loved it. Not even including the hockey, the city, the people. Just the way our lives set up. We had our first child there. It was we liked a lot about it, and hockey's just the cherry on top. It's a great organization with a lot of history and a bright future that I really wanted to be a part of, and my mindset never really changed with that, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
When you get through the season you had this year, career year, you're going into the off season needing a new deal. How much, I know you kind of talked about it on Tuesday, but how much temptation really was there for you to see, like, what value could I have out there on the free agent market? And, from our seats here on the studio, it seemed like more than $4 million per year may have been in your future, but, how hard was it to maybe let that go and, decide to come back to Chicago for what I think I would say was maybe less money than what others would have projected?
Yeah, no, obviously, for me, it was a lot, it was not an easy decision. Like I said, I always wanted to be in Chicago, but, at the end of the season, you have time to reflect and, obviously with the new child, you have to support the family and all that stuff. But for me, we were able to get something done. And, like I said, I wanted to be in Chicago, and, it was nerve-wracking at times. And, you see the rumors of how, oh, if I stayed, to free agency and, played that card. But it's really not that easy just to, risk everything, the relationships that I've made in Chicago, the experiences I've got, and, risk that. And on top of, you never know how the free agent market's going to go. So for me, I was getting, certainty there, and, certainty with the team that I know the situation, and I love the situation. So for me, it's like I couldn't really, lose in that sense where, I wanted to be in Chicago, and I was lucky enough to end up being back here.
Oh, you've got, a firsthand view of the youth movement that's happening here. And I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I would imagine that you see the way last season ended with Renzel and Levshinov and Nazar and Moore and everybody coming up and contributing. Did that sort of add to your decision to stay because you can sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel here?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you just see the depth in the internal competition. For me, it's like there's a bunch of guys that, I'll probably have the chance to play with that, are hungry and, determined to make their impact. And I think, there's a bright future, obviously, but, we're all going to be competing, and that's going to make the team better. And to be a part of that is super exciting. And, being around all those young guys all the time keeps me young too. So, and I'm not even that old, but I do feel like a really old guy around all those guys. So it's definitely fun.
Yeah, I mean we've had Alex Vlasic on the show a number of times this season, and even he just turned 24, and it seems like he's a veteran amongst a lot of the young guys that are joining the team. What is that locker room atmosphere like, and how did that shift as the season went on? Because you guys went from the start of the year being one of the, I think it was like the 5 oldest rosters in the NHL, and then by the end of the season you were one of the 5 youngest. How did that shift over the season?
To be honest with you, it didn't feel like, we were like losing all that much experience. We had guys that have been around still, and we have the young guys, and it's funny that you think the young guys actually end up being the sometimes the loudest guys in the locker room, and you think that the youngest guys would be the quietest, but they're kind of the loudest. So when you have just a few in there, the room feels really young and light, and when you multiply that by a couple, it really turns up. So it's been a lot of fun.
Have you had any conversations with Jeff Blashill since he was hired and you've resigned?
Yeah, we've had a phone call, and I was just getting to know him. We were both, we haven't, met before, or I've never had the privilege of playing for him, but fortunately, we did talk, and he seemed like a guy that was super excited about the opportunity, and something that how I can help the team. We talked about a lot of different things, family life, and family history, and that kind of stuff. But it was really exciting to hear how excited he was to be a part of this team, and about the future, and helping us grow, and that definitely made me more excited about joining here.
Well, we had him on the show the day after the press conference, and he talked to us about what he calls winning hockey, and the way you have to play, like stopping on pucks, making sure you're winning those board battles, hustling back. It seems like he's pretty much describing Ryan Donato when he talks about winning hockey. So I think you feel like it's going to be a good fit for you and Blashill based on what you've heard from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a guy that, respects guys that, work hard and are detail oriented. And, that's something that as a young guy, I had to work on my own game, and, having that experience that I had with, previous coaches, it's a tough lesson, but it's a lesson you need to learn to be able to, play and stay in this league. And he's definitely a guy that, wants to help these young guys develop. And for me to see that, he rewards guys for, their work ethic and compete, that definitely excites me. And that's, one of the major reasons why I ultimately wanted to come back to Chicago.
Kyle Davidson's been a little bit active leading up to the draft and free agency. Made a trade to get former teammate of yours, Andrei Burakovsky, to bring into the organization. What's the vibe on him as he comes to the team, and what can Blackhawks fans expect?
I love Berkey. He's a very funny guy. Might be quiet with the media a little bit, but he's very funny, nice, very approachable veteran guy. Obviously, he's been on winning teams before, and he's had a lot of success in the league, and he's a guy that he's super competitive, and very, very skilled and talented. So if he gets to playing his A game, which I've heard that's what he wants to get to, he's going to be a very impactful player for the team. And I think he's going to be coming in right away, very hungry, and I think he's just going to push everybody to compete harder. And I'm happy to have him here, and as a teammate, and as a somebody to compete with.
Do you pay attention to all the off-season stuff, like the draft lead up and the free agency rumors, or you just kind of keep to yourself on those things?
I kind of keep to myself on those things. I follow, the trades and stuff that are, kind of right away out of nowhere, trades that you weren't expecting. But, you know, I think when I was younger, I followed it a lot heavier, more often, I should say. And now it's that I get older, it's every year. There's always stuff. There's always a circus going on. So I think if you get, too involved in that, watching too much of what's happens, you can kind of be consumed by it. So for me, you only get so much time in the off season to kind of reflect on the year you had, or your season, or what you want to get better at. And coming into the year, I don't really want to be thinking about all the different rumors and everything going on. So I just kind of do my own thing, and worry about myself, and then hopefully helping the team when I come back.
Well, we asked Alex Vlasic, if you could add any kind of player to the team this offseason, what would it be? And we were thinking he would say power forward or defenseman, and he said Sam Bennett. He flat out said Sam Bennett. So if you want to say, if you were in Kyle Davidson's chair What kind of player would you add? What do you think the team needs? And if you want to be specific with a name, go for it.
Jeez, that's a hard pick to follow. I mean, he's a great player. Vlass has got his, he had that ready to go. I'm not sure if I'm thinking from the top of the head. It's hard to name one specific player. I mean, you could go with the, great players like the Barkovs and all that stuff, and those guys are obviously, ideal players to have on a team. But just for us, in considering, the market and all that stuff, just a guy that's going to be, a very consistent, goal scorer or, centerman that's, experienced and can push these young guys and, show the right way to win hockey games. And we have all the talent and speed and skill, but it is a hard league to win in. And I think having a guy that's been around and done it before would be very helpful. But again, I'm not the GM, so I'm not a guy that can make those decisions. And if you gave me more time, maybe my answer might be completely different.
Well, Ryan, we know a storyline for you going through last summer and into this season was working on speed, and that seemed to be evident as you went throughout last season. What have you been doing so far this off season? I don't know how intensely you've gotten into your training yet, but what have you been doing this year to, what have you been working on? What did, at exit interviews, did, Kyle give you some pointers on, hey, we know, you put in the work last year and it paid off, and, what have you been doing so far this summer to kind of build upon that?
Yeah, so I think more specifically last year I changed up a little bit of, what I was focusing on rather than, going to do the work. I never thought in my life that, work ethic was a problem. I always had work ethic, but really focusing on the right things. And for me, that was, skating and agility. And obviously, I did focus on it last summer, and it was towards the end of the summer where I really focused on it. And, it made such an impact on my game that it's kind of more of the same. It's a lot of, a lot more agility, skating, uh, just getting faster and, maybe getting another extra step or two faster that, maybe you feel like you're 0.1% faster, but overall in the long season, it makes a huge difference. And I think that is still consistent with me is, working on my skating and agility and keeping that speed.
So we know that I'm fascinated by this because we know Connor Bedard has specifically said he's working on this summer too. So, I assume over the summer you're working on explosiveness, your edges, all those sort of things. But once the games begin, how do you adapt the new, whatever you want to call it, skating style or stride or whatever it is that added those steps to speed? Once you're playing hockey, as you've done your whole life, how do you implement those smoothly, I guess, is the question.
It's a great question because that's, the exact feeling I had, coming into camp. Like I felt faster when I was thinking about doing these type of things, right? And it's not, the game's too fast to be thinking about it. So for me, a few weeks before camp, I thought about it and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go to every skate and really, really focus. I might be a little slow at the beginning, because I'm really worried about, what I'm doing with my feet and what, what I'm doing stride wise and that kind of stuff. But, I tried to make it become muscle memory. And, by the time camp rolled around, it did. So for me, I kind of rolled it back again this summer where, I'm, slowly you work on those little things that you need to change and shift and then getting faster at them. And then, really focusing on, whether it's, you're going out for a couple skate with a couple guys, just focusing on those things that you worked on and really trying to feel the difference in those, two different things that you worked on or, and coming into camp and, having that same feeling, but knowing that hopefully it becomes muscle memory by that time.
It kind of feels like it's having like a growth spurt, I guess is a way to put it, at 28, 29 years old, like trying to have to relearn new muscle memory. It seems like that's like something that we see a lot of guys get into that age range and what a lot of people consider prime years, and it's just like, well, this is a player that they are. And it seems like you were able to find a new gear, and that's pretty impressive, just to say so. But as you go into this upcoming season, kind of piecing where you were last year in the lineup, you got a lot of opportunities on the top line. You were moving around a little bit. Do you kind of expect that to be the case again? Like, I know you still have to find out what the actual roster is going to look like in training camp, but how do you see yourself fitting in after how last year went and moving forward?
Yeah, no, again, like you guys were asking me earlier, it's one of those things. It's like you can worry about it, or you can kind of just work on what you need to work on, and come into camp and just prove that you deserve those opportunities. And, obviously I want to be on the first line and do all these things. But for me, I've always been a guy that, can kind of create no matter what, situation I was put into. And that's something that took a while to develop, and a lot of confidence going up and down to develop over my career. But for me, I come in with the mindset I'm going to help, no matter what the situation is, whether I'm, third line left wing, third line center, fourth line left wing, first line left wing. It doesn't really matter to me. My mindset, stays the same, and that's helped me throughout my career, and in a good way. So for me, like I said, I would love to say, oh, I'm aiming to, push for that spot, but you just don't know how things are going to work out. So you just kind of give it your all, and show why you deserve those opportunities, and hopefully good things follow.
All right, Ryan, you've been super generous with your time. I know it's a busy day for you, so get back to it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks,
that is
Ryan.
Blackhawks forward Ryan Donato, 31 goals last year. He will duplicate that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. All right, we're going to hit the break zone. We are a little bit late. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hit that like button for Ryan for us, and we'll talk to you in 120 seconds, because I already said 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers can now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether that bet wins or loses. And with the Bet365 early payout offer for Major League Baseball, you're a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Again, download the app, use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, and you're going to get that $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, whether that bet wins or loses. And those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Again, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, in-app only.
And pardon my French, but it's hot as the dickens outside.
Sure is.
Right now. And you don't want your dickens to stink.
No, you don't.
When it's this weather. That's why you need Mando's whole body deodorant. It's safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, balls, thigh folds, belly button, butt cracks, feet, and dickens. Created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO, not Bo Jackson, but BO, was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Check out their great scents. My favorite is the Clover Woods. That one smells really good. Get yourself some of this Mando. The starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. And as a special offer, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our code CHGO at shopmando.com. That's 40% off your starter pack, SHOPMANDO. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. All right. Look at that. We're back magically. And we hit the 100 like mark over the break. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. All right. If you missed it yesterday, big trade in the NHL. JJ Peterka, who was a Hawks target, traded to Utah for Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. So we knew, and what we've heard over the last weeks is that the Hawks were active, offering the 3rd pick for Peterka, but the Mammoth, had to think of the name of the team real quick there.
Yeah, I know. You got to get used to
Yeah.
it. They have a name now. Utah Mammoth.
Wanted proven NHL talent. So they got Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. I am... I guess what we have to do here is establish the Blackhawks equivalent of Josh Doan and Michael Kesselring. And I would say, is that Wyatt Kaiser and Oliver Moore?
No, I think it's, I don't know. Am I overshooting it and saying that it's probably like Vlasic and is someone just below Nazar?
So like Lardis and Vlasic?
Yeah, but I guess, yeah.
But Doan's got NHL experience.
Doan's played in the NHL, and Kesselring is a really underrated good defenseman, and young, cost controlled, right shot,
Kesselring's not a household name, but he's a good player.
Yeah, I think when you look at there's a lot of
Colton Dock and Korchinski, Windy City Hockey says.
That's pretty good, actually. Yeah, sure. That works. Not exactly same style of players, but close. There's some interesting layers to this whole story, because been looking at it, and they make the trade. No futures involved, no picks involved, and Michael Russo had some information from the Athletic today that Marco Rossi was on the table in a trade for the Sabres for Peterka, Marco Rossi plus. There was also, I don't want to say it without having the information correct, but there was another one. I don't think it was Jason Robertson, but there was another big name that has been out on the trade market. It's slipping my mind right now. But that was also available plus. And, you look at that and you look at, okay, we understand that Buffalo wants win now opportunities. Maybe they
because they're right on the cusp of a Stanley Cup.
Maybe they weren't enamored with the futures that may have been offered or weren't interested in it. But if I'm in a position where you're offering me Marco Rossi plus, I think I'd take that over Doan and Kesselring.
I don't know how Kevin Adams.
Jordan Kyrou. Thank you, McLovin. Jordan Kyrou was on the table plus in a trade offering. I would take Jordan Kyrou over Doan forward for forward.
100%. I know the right shot defenseman was the key. That was a big thing for
Noah Dobson. Also, thank you for the Christian and Jay Stossner. Yeah, all these names that are coming up, and Buffalo goes with Doan and Kesselring. That to me doesn't add up.
It sure doesn't.
And again, it's the Sabres. Lots of times things don't necessarily add up to people from the outside perspective. This literally just came across my timeline in the break zone. As I was reading that read, I also saw this information.
Wow, that's multitasking, mister.
So Craig Rivett, former NHL player, 900-plus games, former tough guy in the NHL, host of After the Whistle podcast, talking about this. I don't know if he's plugged in to the Sabres, but this comment seems like it is. Quote from the show, JJ Peterka was more concerned about serving drinks behind a bar at 4 a.m. in his off-ice extracurriculars than he was other things. Said there was an attitude shift with Peterka. Listen, I'm not one to get into the tabloids, but for the fact that the Sabres...
Throwing that out there that's ballsy.
Yeah, but for the fact that the Sabres were moving this guy in the first place, kind of was like...
It is a bit of a red flag.
That's odd.
Take the Sabres out of it, but to move a 23-year-old proven scorer
guy with 2 60-point seasons,
and he's lined up with your Dahleens and your Powers, and
he
just
should needs
be part
a new
of that
deal.
Group. Yeah,
that always felt a little like, why is this happening?
It would be like moving Frank Nazar in 2 years.
Yeah,
you're like, why did they do that?
I don't know how much to put behind that, if anything, but I find that interesting that maybe a culture problem, an off-ice problem, an extracurriculars problem could have been arising, and Buffalo said it's more worth it to us to have somebody else around than to potentially deal with him, and if it derails any type of development in him.
Well, that's fine, but you still have better offers.
Right.
If Kyrou was on the table, what are you doing?
Right. Did they just jump at it and say, well, this is what we'll take, rather than trying to swing bigger?
Look, I'm not pissed the Hawks. I mean, would I have preferred the Hawks get JJ Peterka? Yes. But we kind of knew all along, once the third pick's not going to do it because they want NHL-ready players, you kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen. The Hawks did not have what Utah needed, or what Buffalo needed to get the deal done. Of course, you could involve a third team and get creative, and we've seen the Hawks do that before. People forget the Taylor Hall trade that had Rantanen, it was very creative, lots of moving parts to
Mikko
it.
Rantanen, Blackhawks legend.
Yeah, it was all very there was lots of moving parts to that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that if I have a criticism of Davidson, it is that maybe he's slightly too in love with his prospects and is unwilling to move on from, hey, look, like we all really like Oliver Moore, but we don't know what he is. Right?
yet.
Like we like Nick Lardis, we don't know what it is. So maybe he'll be right and we'll all look stupid, but I hope within the next 5 days between the draft and free agency that something is added here. I still think that doing nothing, and fine, Burakovsky is a player that makes the team better. There's no doubt, but it doesn't move the needle significantly one way or the other.
Sure.
I would love to see them find a way to get, and we've been talking about this forever, a top 6 forward. Ryan Donato basically said it too. It's what his team needs is an experienced top 6 forward. So let's see. And again, look, maybe he does nothing, and maybe 3 or 4 years from now, Sasha Boisvert is handing the cup to Oliver Moore, who's handing the cup to Nick Lardis, and we all look like idiots. But I know it's impatience. I know I think the big thing for a lot of us, though, and I'll speak for myself, but I think I speak for a lot of Hawks fans, is you worry about the impact of losing season after losing season after losing season, finishing in the bottom 3 every year, night after night, getting stomped on. Like, that affects you mentally as a player. It takes its toll. Even if you understand the rebuild and the big picture and you're all on board with it, the night-to-night 82 to 84 game seasons,
84 games.
It's tough to take, and I think that's where I'm like, hey, let's just advance this a little bit, get somebody in that age range, 23 to 25, that can really help the team. At the same time, those are the most valuable players in the league. Oh, a proven guy in his low 20s? They're not all over the place. So, in fairness, there's only a few of those available.
I'm 95% convinced that between now and Friday night, something will happen. Whether it's moving draft picks, moving up, or player movement, I feel very convinced that there will be something that drops. I don't know what, but I think something will materialize, because I think we've seen Kyle Davidson before make some aggressive moves like that. Is it to get a guy, like you're saying, a top 6 guy? Probably unlikely, but it might be to move up in the draft, move up into the first round, move from 25 up, or move back in for another third first round pick, like he's done twice before.
It really feels like
I feel
like
something's going to happen.
You could get James Higgins. It's starting to feel that way. If it goes as expected,
you got to get to like 8, I'd say.
8, yeah, probably at the latest. But if you trade 25 and you trade, the second round pick and maybe one of your defensive prospects to move up to get James Higgins, I don't have a huge problem with that. If you're getting Higgins and Misa or Higgins and Frondell or whatever it might be, yeah, sign me up for that. Like, that's fine. It doesn't help now, but holy crap, does that solidify you down the road?
In 2 years it does. I'm very interested to see where Higgins goes. We talked about it a couple of days ago. If he's on the board at 3 and Michael Misa's not there, it probably seems like Higgins would be a really good fit. He's potentially the most skilled forward in the draft class, and is an inch and a half below 6 foot at 18 years old really that detrimental to his skill set? I don't think so, but if he does start to fall, if we start to see, 4, 5, 6, Utah, Nashville, Philly, and Higgins is still on the board, have a discussion with Boston. Because what are they doing?
Who knows?
Their prospect pool is doo-doo, and it has been for many years. And yeah, having the number 7 pick would help improve that, obviously. But are they building for the future? Are they bottoming out? I don't think so. I think they're going to try and figure this out on the fly, which always seems to work.
Yep.
But that's
Moment.
that's their only first-round pick. I talked to Boston, if Hagens is still there at 7, and say 25, 34, and you want a top-ish defenseman. You want to talk about
Ethan Del Mastro.
Del Mastro. You want to talk about Kaiser and talk about Allen. Fine. Well, maybe we'll take 34 off the board and talk about Korchinski, something like that. I'm open to that opportunity.
You could throw the Florida pick in next year too, the Florida first.
Sure.
Because I think what Boston needs too is numbers of prospects. Like, yeah, it'd be great to have number 7, but to have like 4 first-round picks all of a sudden in the next 2 years,
right?
That's going to help them reload more quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interest. That's if Hagens is dropping there, that's the team I call is Boston, because the Hawks have way more picks and a better prospect pool to wade through than Boston has for the last 8 years, it seems.
All right, our buddy Giggity's pointed out something cool for us that we're going to get to on the other side of the break zone. Hit the like button for us. Back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, that is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's your one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strands to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. You can go to one of their locations around Illinois, like in the city in Wrigleyville and River North, or out to the suburbs in Champaign, South Beloit, and all over the state. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off of your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO, that's HICHGO, at checkout to qualify. Exclusions do apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for those 21 or older, and for Illinois medical card users. And for existing users, the promo code CHGO50 gets you 50% off of one Cresco Labs brand item.
You know what I did yesterday?
What?
I went to a big box store.
Nice.
But I wasn't looking for flooring, because you'd be dumb to do that.
Good
Because
choice.
Empire Today exists. I was looking for light bulbs. No problem there.
Yeah.
But flooring, screw that. You want Empire Today. They are flooring experts, and they're your best bet to get new floors for your home. We've all been to those big box stores. Not what you need. You don't need Toilet Plunger Joe helping you pick floors for your house. You want the Empire Carpet Man to go there, unroll it in one move. We've all seen the commercial. Do it. They bring the showroom right to your home, pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks in your house. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yep, you heard me right. $350 off with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. All right, before we get to the Giggities, we want to remind everybody we've got our $36 sale going on right now. Our Make Your Move intro offer to become a CHGO diehard today. $36 for the entire year. And yes, you do get the free shirt or hat the day you sign up. Well, they got to ship it to you. But, as part of the sign up, you do get the free shirt or hat.
You pick it that day.
Which is a $33 value. So you do the math. Get yourself the intro offer, allchgo.com/intro. Sign up, do it. Join us here at CHGO Sports.
And if you want to jump on that to get all of our NHL draft coverage leading up, I've been churning out a lot of things the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Who the Hawks should be looking at for number 25, who they should be looking at number 3, making the case for each one of those guys that could be available at number 3. Players they could reach on, and it still makes sense that they would get that guy, and it would still work out for the Blackhawks, because I don't believe a reach is a thing the day you draft them. Give it 5 years. Same for a bust. Reach and bust. You got to give it some time to figure out what they are.
Okay.
And dropped earlier today 7 rounds of picks for the Blackhawks with the help of the Elite Prospects Draft Guide. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Of course.
And go get it for yourself to educate yourself as a hockey fan. And went through the mock draft tool using Future Considerations Hockey's model. So shout out to them as well.
Awesome. So, yeah, all that stuff is there for you at allchgo.com.
For our diehards and more.
Yes. All right, let's knock out some of these super chats, then we'll get to the giggities. Jack Christos says, "Do you guys buy the Frondell to the Sharks smoke?
Yes.
Also, who do you want at 25?" Yeah, it's starting to sound real to me, and who knows if it's the Sharks trying to like muddy the waters, but why? They don't really have to.
No.
They've got the second pick. It's pretty obvious Schaefer is going 1.
Right, yeah.
So they don't really need to send a smoke screen.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what purpose it would serve San Jose to put that out themselves.
If they're doing that, they either believe the Hawks think Frondell is the top-ranked guy available,
and they might try and trade up. Okay. You trying to play 5D
The other way they would do it is say, "Oh no, yeah, we're taking Misa for sure," trying to force a trade up.
Right.
That it wouldn't be they're trying to leak the Frondell stuff unless they truly believe that Kyle Davidson has Frondell as his A+ number 1. And I don't think in this
another
draft,
team does. Yeah.
Right, and I don't think in this draft you can really say that.
I want to live in the smoke.
Smoke sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sonny said,
"Who do you want at 25?" We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. The Real Fitz for $2 says, "Do you expect a trade of our pick before tomorrow?" No, I think they're making the pick.
Number 3. No, they're going to be making that pick. I feel certain about that. All right.
So yeah, back to the San Jose angle here. Our buddy Cam Robinson, the bandanaed one himself, put out his mock draft today based on intel he's gotten. And from what I remember, I believe last year he nailed all 5, the top 5 at least.
From his mock draft?
From his mock. Like when he did this last year, it was like he got a lot of it correct right out of the gate.
Yeah.
He's got the Hawks taking Michael Misa 3rd. Schaefer 1st, Frondell 2nd, Misa 3rd. Here's what he said about Frondell. "Our first little surprise of the day comes early with Anton Frondell landing in San Jose, a powerful two-way forward with pro frame and poise. Frondell impressed against top-tier competition in Sweden despite being one of the youngest players in the draft. His maturity, versatility, and potential as a matchup-driving pivot make him a long-term fit in San Jose's rebuild, even if he leaves some pure offense upside on the board. Mike Greer has done an impeccable job of keeping us all guessing ahead of this pick. This feels like a jump ball for Frondell or Misa, but in this world, it's the big Swede." And then he's got the Hawks taking Misa.
Yep. Every time that we've been talking about the number 3 pick, especially in the last month or two, it's been with the caveat that, Misa's not available, so what are you going to do? Who's your plan B? Feels a lot like the coaching search when it came down to it. David Carl's not there, so now who are you going to do? This kind of started, I think, primarily, at least for me, with Cam being the one that started first talking about Frondell, and then it was Elliot Friedman talking about it on 32 Thoughts, and you go through a lot of these mock drafts, and Sam Cosentino with Sportsnet has the Sharks taking Frondell, and man, the amount of time that I have put into believing Michael Misa would be the guy to go with, whether it was they were going to win the lottery. I've talked about it a number of times. Like, he's the guy I have at the top of the draft board entirely.
Yeah, me too.
Not just forwards, not just wish list for the Hawks. Overall, I would have him ahead of Matthew Schaefer. If he falls to 3, I can't think of a more perfect scenario, and for the Blackhawks, and it feels very similar to the 23 draft, and we were all focused on Connor Bedard, rightfully so.
Bust.
But right after him, we were all, Adam Fantilli, number 2.
Much better.
And boom, Leo Carlson, number 2, going to Anaheim, and Fantilli goes to number 3 in Columbus. This feels very much like that, because I remember Fantilli was like the number 2 guy for a very, very long time, and then as we got in that last month, it felt like that smoke around Leo Carlson started to intensify, and the love for him started to grow a little bit more across the mock drafts and across the public sphere, and then lo and behold, he's the number 2 pick. It's feeling very similar to that, and I hope it pans out that way. I think Michael Misa is perfect for for what this Blackhawks team
It really
needs.
and here's what Cam had to say about Misa. He also, by the way, has Hagen's going 9th. Just so you know. All right, the Blackhawks slip back from 2 to 3 in the lottery, but still land a top forward on their board. Misa is a true first-line talent who will have the luxury of secondary matchups as the second half of a formidable 1-2 center punch behind Connor Bedard. Speed, size, dual-threat offensive tools. Misa checks nearly every box. The Hawks would be thrilled with this result. And so would we. All right, do we want to get into our...
I would be.
Well, we gotta hit the break zone shortly. All right, do we got time to do this, our rankings here?
Wish list rankings?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Are they any different than what we've been talking about the last 4 months?
Mine have changed a little bit.
Okay.
So, again, I've got Misa as number 1. That's the guy I want the most at 3.
Yes.
James Higgins has moved up to 2 to me. I look at a guy who was supposed to be the number 1 pick for months and months and months, really didn't do anything to lose that status. I think sometimes guys are so in the spotlight so often that teams start to talk themselves out of things, and you forget the obvious. Mm-hmm. And I see a guy who can score, who is going to Boston College, who's going to get another year of college, get a year of college under his belt, and probably be ready to join the NHL when his season ends in college. He'll be ready to go, NHL type player, big time scorer. This is like the home run swing. If Misa's not there, Higgins is a home run swing. And look, if he doesn't pan out to be an elite scorer, I think he's still going to be a very effective offensive player, which the Hawks definitely need. Mm-hmm. If he turns into just Frank Nazar, that's a really big win.
Frank Nazar was the 13th overall pick.
Yes.
And we all wanted him at 7.
Yeah.
That draft. So, yeah, I mean, he is a guy that I think, he's going to go back to college, but I think as soon as that second year of college is over, he hits the NHL and he hits it running. My top guy behind Michael Misa is Porter Martone. I like his game. I like his profile. I like his character. I like the way he would complement a guy like Frank Nazar or Connor Bedard. Wherever he plays in the top 6, he's going to complement their game. The skating is okay, even if it's below par, let's say, which is good in golf but bad in other ways. The way he moves, he gets to the areas that you need to get to, and maybe he's not the straightest or the fastest straight line skater, but how often do you necessarily need that for a guy that plays the style that he does? He's not a guy that plays built off of speed. His hands are some of the best in the league or in the draft class. The way he sees the ice is at a high level. Feels similar to a guy that can process the game quickly, like Nazar, like Bedard can. I get a lot of Blake Wheeler vibes from him. He's the guy that I would go with, and so what if he's not a center either? Like I think he's the guy I would go with at number 3, even though it feels like if it's not Misa, it'll end up being Frondell.
I've got Martone after Higgins in my 3rd spot too, for all the reasons you said. I think the skating thing is a little bit overblown. Once you're on the ice, not everyone is skating full steam straight ahead.
Right.
He'll have plenty of time to get where he has to go. I'm not super concerned about it. So he brings what the Blackhawks are lacking in the system. I think size, not the most physical guy for someone his size, but again, as he told us last week, like he didn't say I'm the best player on the team, but he's one of the best players on his team. Doesn't want to be in the penalty box. Doesn't need to be out there enforcing and
doesn't need to be running guys.
They're counting on him to score, and a lot of guys come to the NHL. Dave Boland also on with us last week, whatever it was. A guy who adapted his game when he got to the NHL, so that happened. So I think Martone, as he gets bigger, and as he gets, when he establishes his role in the NHL, will add that physical element. So I got him 3rd on my board, behind Misa and Higgins.
3rd on my board is Higgins. Is Higgins for all the reasons that you said. I think he complements, the top guys. He's a top 6 player. Wing, center, wherever you want to put him, he's going to excel. The speed, the playmaking, it's all there. So I think it's a slam dunk that he'd be. I thought he'd be a slam dunk. He's in the top 5, but it sounds like again, it's we're seeing kind of Shane Wright similarities of just dropping. Surprisingly, so we'll see how it pans out.
All right, we'll give you 4 and 5 on the other side of this final break zone of the show. Hit the like button. Back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Head to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams' vehicles. You can lease the new 2025 Ram 1500 Big Horn for only $419 a month for 36 months, or finance at 1.9% for 72 months. Plus, you can shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram is here to help you during your shopping journey. With Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons or hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Go check out our partner today to shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories. Find the right new vehicle for you. And don't miss out on their Employee Pricing Plus sales event for huge savings on the Ram 1500 Big Horn. For more information, visit Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com.
And let's talk about your next weekend escape, or maybe just your next big night out, because Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee has everything you need in one spot. Thousands of the latest slots and table games. I'm a roulette guy myself. If you're ready to refuel, they've got a ton of amazing restaurants and bars to choose from. And whether you're feeling fancy or you just want a quick bite, they've got you covered. You don't even have to leave the property. Stay in style at their luxury hotel, just steps away from what many call the Midwest's best sports book. Heading to a ball game this summer at Wrigley North? Start your day right at Potawatomi, hit the sports book, then head out to the game. It's all right there. Super convenient. Milwaukee's got a full summer lineup, concerts, festivals, sports, you name it. Potawatomi is the perfect home base for all of it. Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Your win is waiting. Go check it out. All right, number 4 on my draft list is Anton Frondell. The hype has been growing for him over the last few weeks to the point where it's gotten to where he might be the second overall pick. Seems like a can't miss good player. It's kind of boring, but I'll take can't miss. You know he's going to be good.
Yeah, you'd think that the guy has a high floor, maybe not as high a ceiling as some of these other forwards here, but you want to bet that the floor is still, he lands in your top 6 somewhere, whether it's center or wing. Lot of comparisons similarly to Alexander Barkov. Maybe not exactly like that. I don't think exactly like that, but close to. Which again, that's a guy that does everything for the Panthers. Plays a lot of difficult situations. Leads the team. Like it's a guy you win with for sure. I like Frondell. I'm not going to be upset if he ends up being the pick. Wouldn't be my first choice, but I think with all these guys, as we've said for a very long time, they all bring something to the table that the Blackhawks are missing and something that the Blackhawks would benefit from, for sure.
Who do you got there?
At the bottom?
At 4.
Frondell.
Also Frondell?
Frondell?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've got Desnoyers 5th.
Desnoyers 5th.
Yep. Talked a lot about him, but just feels like a Tavesy kind of a player.
Feels like it,
kind of good at everything. A guy you put on the ice in important moments. A winner. A clutch performer. I feel like him and Frondell are a bit of a toss-up in terms of like play style. Maybe just more of a preference kind of a thing. And I'll say this: any of these 5, Misa, Hagens, Martone, Frondell, Desnoyers, in any of those order, I am not upset with.
No,
it's fine.
No, each one of them would fit into the Blackhawks system. Each one of them becomes one of the best prospects, if not the best prospect currently moving forward. And they're all similarly spaced away from the NHL, probably 1 year away from looking at, professional hockey and potentially playing in the NHL based off of, how their development continues to path out. I think there's really no glaring wrong choice. I don't think they're going to reach at number 3. I think it's safe to say one of these 5 guys will be the pick. And with Desnoyers, like, I think it's interesting that, he has those, just that winning style. And the more I think about, Jeff Blashill and talking about winning hockey and how, Desnoyers has that style. He's been around with Team Canada for their big tournaments and has won. He helped Moncton win the QMJHL championship this year, was the playoffs MVP for that team, playing through 2 wrist injuries while doing so. Like, it's pretty impressive, the season he was able to have. So the two-way ability, the size is great. Being more of a true center is good too. So I don't think that there's going to be a wrong pick. For me, there definitely is a top pick, and it's still Michael Misa. He's the one guy that even too.
It's gonna happen. I got a vibe.
I'm hesitant to dive 2 feet into the pool, but I really want to. But even Misa kind of, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but could he jump to the NHL right away? I think
maybe.
I think out of the,
you probably don't have to though.
You don't have to, but I think out of those 5 players, he's the one that I think is closest. You can make the case for
probably
to be able to make that jump.
Yeah, I don't, because Schaefer had so few games last year, and defense is usually tougher to jump right in.
He also won't turn 18 until September.
Yeah,
he's so young.
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. And as someone said in the chat, like, can we just get the draft here already? Yes, please. I'm so tired of talking about it and predicting it and moving my line up and down. It's just
starts
like,
at what, 6 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, we are on the air at 6 o'clock.
27 hours away.
So, yeah, we'll be on live during the first round. We'll be watching and reacting live with you. Hopefully I don't mispronounce any draft picks. I might just do everyone as French. Just to get it right this time.
Yeah, just to be safe.
But that'll be fun. And then Saturday, we'll be on after the draft concludes, but we're going to be here jumping on the Discord with instant reaction. So good opportunity. Again, if you're not a diehard yet, take advantage of that intro offer, allchgo.com/intro. Become a diehard, jump on our members-only Discord, and then anytime there's a trade or a draft pick or whatever, Mario or I will jump onto the chat channel and give a little breakdown, answer a few questions, and then get back to covering the draft. So we will be available for you throughout the entire draft, but especially Saturday for you diehards only. We're going to be in that Discord, so take advantage. allchgo.com/intro for $36 for the year. All right, let's take a look at number 25, the second pick the Hawks have in this draft.
Yes.
Cam Robinson has them taking Jack Nesbitt of Windsor. That is his pick, 6'3".
He probably read my 7-round mock draft this morning.
He says, while his U18s left something to be desired, his pro-style habits, defensive responsibility, and ability to play through contact make him an intriguing long-term piece. If his offensive game continues to evolve, this could look like a very strong pick for the Blackhawks.
I would love Jack Nesbitt. I think, size and skill, being able to be physical up front is something that the Blackhawks still need in their prospect system. I think Nesbitt is a guy that you plug right into that, second line, third line center conversation with Oliver Moore, with Sacha Boisvert, and you have a really great option there. In my 7-round mock draft, Nesbitt was available, and he was the pick at 25. Also available, or could be available around that pick that I really like, is Malcolm Spence.
Yeah.
I know he's not a center. He plays on the wing, but very similar style, two-way guy. 6'3", 200 pounds, has that size, has a little bit of a offensive upside to him as well, especially in that range. And what was interesting was some information came across that he actually, he weighed in at the combine at about 190 and change, but he had been playing at about 200 pounds throughout the season. Turns out he had like a laceration on his tongue, and it had to be like surgically like repaired and everything. Got infected.
Oof.
And they had to do much more work on that. Affected his eating, obviously.
Yeah.
So he ended up losing weight throughout the season, played through that injury. And I'm sure that affected some of his output in the OHL this season, but still was a tremendous offensive driver for the Erie Otters this year. But he's a guy that I think fits all the characteristics that the Blackhawks like in a guy.
Yeah, I can't pretend to be an expert on people this low in the first round, but you read stuff, and there's Spence is one of those names you really like. We talked about Bill Zonin many times from the Q, just a big dude that kind of does everything, super athletic. I would be down with that. And why is the name escaping me of the fast kid, the one that is a Kyle Davidson prototype?
Cullen Potter.
Cullen Potter, that's right.
Yeah.
2 last names.
I'd be cool with Cullen Potter, too. I think he's not going to be there 25. I think he's going to be picked earlier than that.
What's funny is I'm looking at Cam's mock. He's got Cullen Potter as the first pick of the second round.
Oh, interesting.
And he's got the Hawks taking Vaclav Nestrasil at 34. He also has Bill Zonin going 31st.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's lots of different choices. Definitely lots of size available. Lots of, in that range, you're going to get a lot of guys that I think if they're smaller, their one skill stands out. And with Potter, it's a skating. If they're bigger, it's kind of more of an all-around game. Maybe not as elite level of a skill set in a certain category, but they kind of do a little bit of everything well. Nestrasil is one of those guys where he has a pretty good offensive upside. He's a bigger forward. Playing at the USHL level, he's going to have to kind of see how it all translates as he goes up in competition. So that'll be interesting to see. Another guy that I'm really in on, and I've kind of turned around. He turned my head after the combine. Is the story with Mason West, the football player from Edina High School in Minnesota. 6'6", raw skill set, but the athleticism is there. He's committing to his hockey future. He's gonna finish his football season in high school. Going to try and win a state championship in football like he did in hockey. Imagine having
must be nice.
Yeah, having the athletic ability to win a state championship in hockey and say, okay, now I want to do it in football. Like, talk about a guy that probably just runs that high school. But he had Division I offers to, play college football. And it looks like he's going to focus on his hockey future. He's committed to Michigan State for the 26-27 season. Once his football year is over, he's going to be playing in the USHL. I'm very intrigued by him, especially after the Blackhawks took Spellacy last year.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to be turned off by the, two-sport questions or anything like that. Spellacy made the commitment to hockey. I think West is definitely going to follow that path as well, and I'm very intrigued by him.
Well, we have made it, man. The next time we talk to you, the draft will be on and rolling. So, again, make sure you're with us tomorrow. We'll be on the air starting at 6. And the drill. They'll flap gums and they'll
there's like
they'll fill some time.
10 minutes on the clock between picks.
Yeah. But we'll be reacting in real time with you. So make sure you join us. Put us on your second screen, or put the draft on your second screen if you prefer.
That's true.
That'd be great. And again, we will be live in the Discord on Saturday as news comes down, and then we'll do a full draft reaction show after that. So it's going to be a good, fun weekend. Lots of questions answered, trades, who knows. Mm-hmm. But keep your eye on everything we're doing here.
Active.
And to take advantage of that diehard sale, allchgo.com/intro. That's the website. Again, $36 for the entire year. It's our Make Your Move sale in celebration of the NBA, NHL drafts, and free agency opening. So get that. Get your free shirt. Rock it. And you'll be ready for a new Hawks season right around the corner.
If anyone's wearing any CHGO merch, you should tweet us. Tag us on Twitter.
Yeah, we want to see that stuff.
Yeah, let us know.
Maybe I'll pop it on the scrreen during our 3-4
fun.
hour long show.
It's like my entire drawer is full of CHGO stuff.
Do you guys know what you're going to wear tomorrow?
I have not planned my outfit yet.
Okay.
It's going to be hot.
I'm going to have a runway reveal.
It's going to be hot, temperature-wise and outfit-wise, actually. I don't know. Maybe I'll wear my Hall of Famer Duncan Keith jersey.
There you go.
Might be fun.
I'm going to not sweat. Jeans were a bad idea.
Pretty sure I wore a jersey in the 22 draft.
I think so.
Jersey.
Darren is asking what time the draft is tomorrow.
Starts at 6.
Starts at 6. We start at 6. Draft starts at 6.
Yep. And we'll be here for all 57 hours of it.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait. We have made it to the fun part of the offseason. Then right around the corner, prospect camp. Not on the ice, but we're going to be talking to prospects. So
Free agents.
It'll be great. Yeah,
Ready
free
for
agent
it.
day is Tuesday.
Ready for it.
And by the way, Tuesday, the plan is for your calendars, we'll be on live from 11 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So an hour before, we'll start getting some leaks. Noon is when it becomes official. Boom. We'll get the press releases right away, and then we'll do a reaction. Let's do it. Can't wait. A lot of people asking if Greg Boyson is joining. He will not be with us for the draft. He was invited, but because he's writing for Chicago Hockey Now, he wants to keep the momentum of his writing going. He's going to be writing in real time. So we're going to let him do that. He wants to do that, make more money for himself, as he should do. So make sure you check out Greg's work at ChicagoHockeyNow.com and join us tomorrow at 6 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.